I've been hunting with my father since I was 5 years old. We've mainly done a rifle hunt. Up until about 5 years ago, I picked up a bow and got my first adrenaline buck fever, I guess what most of the people would say. About 7 yards away from a spike elk. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I'd get buck fever over a spike. But as we show this video, we'll kind of explain what we did and some successes and some failures. As most archers know, that you're not going to be successful every time, and so this is to show you that some of the goods and some of the bads with archery hunting that come along with it. We weren't in the blind longer than, I would say, about an hour and a half when this 6-point came up to the watering hole, our opening day. I still decided to draw, even though he wasn't the biggest. He was still a nice 6.4. Right over him. This just kills your confidence when you shoot and you know you're steady and you see the arrow do this. The only thing we could figure out is how to hit the blind. My fletching is spiraled, and when it went out through the screen, it must have just caught it just right. We went out to actually sight it in just to make sure I wasn't off for whatever reason, and very first shot we went and did, it was a straight on bullseye that next morning. So we continued on our hunt to see if we can find another 6-point. The next day we tried a new location. We kept hearing these bulls and we were always towards the tail end of them, so we decided to get up early and basically be in the path of them going up to the bedding area. It's hard to tell in this shot, but we had a bull about 90 yards and I couldn't see my sight pin to pull off a shot that far. So we ended up letting that bull go. He had to have been either the 5-point or 6-point that we kept hearing. Derek and I, we probably did anywhere from 5 to 10 miles a day. And so this was after a fairly long hike that we just got done and going back for lunch. What is just crazy in New Mexico compared to any other state that I've hunted in is the amount of elk. This particular morning we were just hearing bulls just scream like crazy, and then as soon as the sun's up, you can see the sun, they just pretty much pipe down. You'll hear a bugle here and there, but in the mornings they are just wild. It makes the hair on your neck stand up. So the second to last day, we decided for the evening hunt that we would go back to the blind to see if that 6 point would come back. This is obviously after 3 days of leaving the blind alone and in hopes that he would come back to the same watering hole. This little raggy that came into the blind, he came in the first night and he came back in again the same night. We also had about 2 other elk that came in. One was a spike, the other was a cow, and they didn't come within probably 200 yards. I think they got our wind. I think the wind was swirling, so they must have caught our wind or something else spooked them off. So last day we had a bit of a run-in with several hunters. Everybody was trying to hit the same spot after this 5 and 6 point, and this 5 point was a decent 5 point. He had some good mass on him. So we decided to leave them alone and let those hunters, I think there's about 3 of them going after these 2. So we decided to leave them and go actually further up the mountain, which put us a little bit behind. We weren't in the dark, but we just had a little bit of sunlight popping through. Oh, we had everybody's dream elk come just trotting up through, and he just did not want any cows. He didn't want nobody. Just a nice 6 point. My guess would be about a 360, 370 bull. We were up on the hill. Obviously we couldn't, the wind just wasn't playing in our favor, so otherwise we would have been down the ravine. And so we tried to get him to come to us, and he did not want to come anywhere near us, and we had a cow decoy. Spooked by another group of hunters, a bull elk came rushing through the brush, approaching us about 7 yards. While still coming in, the bull was not at correct bow angle, so I let out a cow call, and the bull immediately turned the other direction. With all this happening so fast and catching us off guard, my father fumbled the camera and only got the back end of the elk as he ran off. Derek came running up to us with much excitement in his voice and said that bull had to have been at least a 360. I turned to my father and he looked at me. I don't think I got this on film. We all just laughed. At the end, the elk was only 5 yards from my father, 7 yards from me, and it could have injured us both with those massive antlers, with my father on one side, me on the other, and the bull right in between us. It was an amazing experience, and only the 3 of us, Derek, my dad, and me, could ever witness. Hunting's not always about the picture behind the animal or with the success. It's about the experience that you get with either family or friends. And this hunt is one that will go down in one of my books as one of my favorite hunts, and especially with my dad. With him being at 68 years old, hopefully he lives to 100. You never know how much time you have with your family, and creating moments like this are ones to cherish for the rest of your life.